All right. We are live on YouTube and Twitter, StreamYard, doing a little bit more on StreamYard, trying to go with a virtual background, which looks maybe like a disaster. Anyway, as on the screen, you can see I'm the real_G Warner, and my plan is to go through this weekend's soccer matchups in the English Premier League, Spain's La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and Ligue 1. I'm going to try to do this in 30 minutes as the weekend slate is already beginning as we speak. So without further ado, I'll start with the biggest money league of them all, and that's the English Premier League. No matches on Friday, but Saturday we start in the morning with Manchester United hosting Everton, currently a 1-goal favorite with all the juice in the Manchester United side. I used BetOnline's current odds to try to at least record this. I'm sure they'll change before matches start, especially because Manchester United is a popular side that looks like it might be climbing to 1.25 goals. Not sure that that's really deserved. Everton, I think, have been an outperformer this season based on expectations with their new manager, who I think a lot of people expected to be too conservative. They've also dealt with a bunch of injuries and are missing some of their key players, but Everton have played pretty well to start the season. Manchester United on the other side look like a team with a ton of talent that have a manager who seems pretty clueless. And they've got a fixture overload, considering they just played midweek in the Champions League, somehow had a miraculous 95th or 96th minute winner from Ronaldo, and that happens. But a single goal win doesn't look like that's going to be enough to cover the spread, especially if it climbs 1.25. So I'm interested in Everton. I think lineups are going to be interesting to see who's available for Manchester United. They're such a deep side that I wouldn't expect anybody to swing the line significantly who would be absent besides maybe a Ronaldo or a Bruno Fernandes. But Everton are another side that I definitely want to see line up to see who's fit and available. But they've been playing pretty well. I don't want to fall in love with the results so far, as I'm not sure that I think they're a great team, but getting over a goal from Manchester United, who simply doesn't look like a team that can be trusted to score a ton of goals, you could probably do worse. Next on the list is Leeds hosting Watford. Currently, Leeds are a 3/4 goal favorite, which I just can't understand. Frankly, from looking at this number, it didn't really make a lot of sense to me initially. And in trying to figure out how that makes sense, I can't. It's just one of those things, I guess, with Leeds, where they're going to play a style that's going to put them out in front, I guess, and potentially have them running up the field and using their athleticism or their fitness. It worked fairly well last season, but I feel like a lot of teams are kind of used to that. And though Watford weren't in the Premier League last season, they and that might be a little bit why they haven't seen this type of style yet. But getting 3/4 of goal is a big number for Leeds, who have been playing really poorly to start the season. I'm not sure that going home is all of a sudden going to change that around, but I guess we'll see. Ultimately, Watford, they're a defensive side that have played pretty well against pretty meager competition the last 2 weeks, though I think the draw to Newcastle was pretty disappointing. But they've got one of the best game changers in the entire league in Sarr, and Leeds are dealing with a ton of injuries. So Watford getting 3/4 right now looks pretty good to me. And I don't see that one moving too far off of that number. Burnley then host Norwich, giving a 1/2 goal. I just don't know how anyone can back Norwich at this point. They seem like the yo-yo side that they are. They're going to head back down to championship division and probably win it again next year and come back up the year after that. Burnley are a really tough favorite to give a 1/2 goal to anybody, though, based on how they play. I think that they're going to be a little bit more aggressive than they usually are. And their offense, I think, has been better while sacrificing defense to do so over the last year and a half or so. I think, I don't know. I mean, value play certainly be on Norwich side as an underdog better. It's interesting to me, at least, to see that type of number offered by a Burnley side that might not score a goal. But Norwich, they don't create any chances. Their defense seems to be pretty problematic. And it's just hard to want to back a team that looks like they're surely going down after missing its biggest opportunity to even get a point at home against Watford and couldn't do that. Next is Chelsea, also in this 10 a.m. window, Eastern time in the U.S. Southampton getting a 1.25 goals at Chelsea. Southampton, I think, have been better than people expected, as they were tipped to be a potential relegation candidate. I'm not sure that they're out of those woods just yet, and they might end up falling back to that same type of spot. I think Chelsea have been a little bit under, well, I guess 2 losses in their last 2 matches, not scoring in either. 1 goal was enough out of halftime from Juve against the Juventus in the middle of the week in the Champions League, and then a goal against Man City at home, and that was that. I think they're going to be pretty angry, they're deep side. They shouldn't have a ton of fitness issues or depth problems by any means. And Southampton, I think, are going to be thrown to the Wolves here. Or the Lions, I guess, to be more appropriate. Wolves then host, speaking of, Newcastle, giving 3/4 of a goal, and that also seems like way too big of a number. Newcastle is not pretty. Their defense has been problematic, to say the least. Their offense has some decent players and individual talents that don't seem to gel together. But Wolves, with a good win at Southampton last weekend, thanks to a goal kick that got Jimenez away, who I think has been doing a little bit more than expected, or at least than he had earlier to start the season, maybe getting his feet under him a little bit after coming back from the gruesome injury. But Wolves did change their lineup and took some players that weren't doing much out of there, like Trincao and Adama Traore. I'm not sure what that lineup's going to look like this weekend, and I'm also not sure how they could give 3/4 of a goal to anybody, because, they scored twice last weekend, but that offense is very, very, very poor, and I don't know that they can get 2 goals here. I'm not even sure they get 1, and that might be enough for Newcastle, even if they can't score themselves. The nightcap on Saturday is Brighton hosting Arsenal. Currently, Brighton getting 1/4 of a goal at home with all the juice on their side. Brighton is the luckiest team in the world, it seems to me. That goal to tie Crystal Palace at the end, and like the last kick of the game, potentially at the death, was unbelievable. And I guess give them some credit for taking advantage of a big Crystal Palace goalkeeping mistake. But Brighton can't keep doing this. I mean, their offense has been so bad for 2 years now. And their strategy to sit back and defend a Crystal Palace side on the road in a rivalry match that doesn't have much offense was questionable to me. And yet everyone still loves Potter, and they've been putting up results, but I don't think they're deserved. Arsenal, on the other hand, haven't really done a lot to score goals. They won their last 3 matches against 2 pretty poor teams, and then whatever we call Tottenham at this point. So being a road favorite seems like it's asking a lot of a side that I don't think we can rely on their offense much at all. But certainly it's more talented than what Brighton has. And so I think I need to do a lot more thinking on this. And if it potentially falls to pick them, that'll be off my radar, which would be really nice. Moving to Sunday, Crystal Palace was Leicester. Currently Palace getting 1/4 of a goal at home. Leicester, a disaster in the Europa League, but the Premier League seems to be where their focus is, and their squad depth is being tested with a lot of injuries to start the year. And I think Brandon Rodgers is kind of just saying, well, we're focused on the Premier League right now. With that said, Palace have been playing better lately. I think getting 1/4 of a goal at home says something from a team that's struggling, who has to go on the road and win the match to cover the spread. Palace deserve better, should be pretty sore after that unbelievable loss in the last match last weekend or on Monday. We'll see what happens. 1/4 of a goal seems to be decent price right now on a home dog. Tottenham then host Aston Villa. Currently Tottenham giving 1/4 of a goal with all the juice on their side. And it looks like it's climbing. Aston Villa, after a pretty poor defensive start to the season, I think have focused a lot on defense, and that's been good for them. Tottenham certainly have the Harry Kane and Sonny connection that are awesome, but there's a lot of trouble in that midfield with Dele Alli trying to not play as a 4-3-3 type of wing and trying to play in the midfield doesn't offer to me any defense. Højbjerg getting caught up top for the first goal or second goal, whenever it was, that really stretched the game. I think it was the second goal against Arsenal in the North London derby. And I just have questions about Nuno and what he's really doing with that team. And just the line is pretty short, getting 1/4 right now. Hopefully, with all the juice on the Tottenham side, this climbs to 1/2, and then I can start looking at Aston Villa even deeper. West Ham then hosts Brentford, also in the same 9 a.m. window Eastern time on Sunday. West Ham giving 1/2 of a goal, coming off a pretty fortunate, I think, push in the Europa League, getting a late goal against one of the worst teams in Austria. Not a great showing. Brentford is doing everything you can ask for them, and I'm sure are going to play a very defensive type of strategy here. They didn't really do that against Liverpool, which is surprising, but that might have been at home. So that might have been the reason behind that a little bit, or maybe they saw some flaws that they could take advantage of. But ultimately, Brentford getting half of a goal looks pretty good to me from a defensive West Ham side that certainly are having a lot more mileage on their legs than they're used to. And the big one on Sunday is Liverpool hosting Man City. Currently, Liverpool at home getting a quarter of a goal with all the juice on the Liverpool side. Might drop to pick 'em as it was last weekend. I believe, at least when I went to bed, it was for Chelsea and Man City on the road at Chelsea. I think Liverpool getting a quarter is interesting. Man City had 3 massive matches in a row with Chelsea on the road, then PSG on the road, and now Liverpool here on the road. That's, great team, Man City, obviously, and favorites to win the league, but ultimately that type of run is so tough to perform well in. So we'll see what happens with that one. But ultimately, I think Liverpool as a dog, if they close there at home, looks interesting to me. We'll see if that ends up making it onto the card. Okay, so that's 10 or 11 minutes on the Premier League. So we're going to go a lot faster on the next, and we'll go to La Liga. So in a few minutes, we have Athletic Club hosting Alaves, currently giving a full goal. It's a big number, all the juice on the Alaves side, which has been kind of jockeying from 3/4 to a full goal. Athletic Club are a defensive side that have some ability offensively, but ultimately I think are a wounded animal when they're given a full goal and that full goal of insurance. But Alaves, with a shock win over Atletico Madrid this past weekend, I can't imagine they're going to follow it up again, though confidence certainly breeds more confidence, and maybe they get a good result today. Moving to Saturday, we have Osasuna and Rayo Vallecano. Currently, Osasuna giving a quarter of a goal. Rayo has been playing a lot better. They started the year, looked like they were destined to go right back down to Segunda, but ultimately added Radamel Falcao, who's been scoring goals every time he goes out there, which is all you can ask from a striker. And they've been playing a lot better, even getting late goals from lasers from outside the box to crush pushes for me, which was brutal last time out against Cadiz. But ultimately, Osasuna are a good side that have been in the league for a couple of years now. I think they have struggles to convert chances. They can make them, but that's they're going to have to do that as a quarter goal home favorite. So I'm interested in Rayo. We'll see what happens. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon right away, but they've been playing very well over the last few weeks. Mallorca then host Levante, giving a quarter of a goal. And Levante have not been playing well. Their defense looks like a big problem. Is probably something that'll keep me off of Levante, though getting a quarter from a recently promoted Mallorca, who has struggled scoring themselves, seems like a side that I would normally be betting on Levante, as they've been very good to me over the last couple seasons. Mallorca, we'll see about their injury status to the striker Fernandinho. Might be a chance for Matthew Hoppe, the American, to come in. But I don't have a lot of faith in Mallorca offense. It's just the Levante defense has been so bad that they could give up a goal, and their finishing has been pretty poor to start the year as well. Some pressure on their manager, who's done a great job for them, and I hope he stays. Cadiz then hosts Valencia, currently getting a quarter of a goal at home with all the juice on the Cadiz side. I feel like that says that there's a COVID scare at Valencia. Not breaking news here, I don't know, or some sort of injury issue that I'm not aware of. But Cadiz are priced this way, and basically if this falls to pick them, I'm more and more interested in Valencia. Atletico then host Barcelona, giving a half of a goal in the nightcap on Saturday. Big number and climbing based on Barcelona's fall on their face performance midweek. Barcelona didn't have a great week before that, but did have a big win against Levante. And there's a point where we need to buy low in Barcelona. Is this the spot to do that? I'm not sure. So we'll have to figure that out at some point. But, it's just one of those things where when is the bottom, and you don't want to catch a falling knife. So it might be one of those where you ultimately look the other way. But Barcelona getting half of a goal from an Athletic side that haven't been able to score goals against the bottom of La Liga or Champions League or really anything this season. So Barcelona interests me, and I'm going to try not to have them on my card. Elche then hosting Celta de Vigo on Sunday. Elche getting a quarter of a goal. Celta's offense has really not done much this season, and so it's weird to see them as a quarter goal favorite on the road. But Elche have had some incredible defensive lapses or mistakes that have basically or literally handed goals to the other opponents in the last 2 matches. You'd think after doing that twice or maybe even 3 times against Villarreal, they would have avoided that in their last match against Sociedad, but same sort of thing happened again. And fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. However that goes. I'm feeling like a fool anytime I touch Elche, but getting a quarter of goal at home from a team that can't score and has questionable defense themselves is interesting me because I'm sick. Espanyol then hosting Real Madrid, getting 3/4 of a goal at home. I think I'm going to wait to see if this hits one, as I don't really believe in the Espanyol offense. Real Madrid are great against scoring, are great scoring against deep lines, and that's what they should be playing here, are deep shells that Espanyol will sit in. And I just does not enough for me to go, insurance for me to go against Real Madrid. Villarreal then hosting Betis. Currently Villarreal giving half of a goal, which has been climbing from when I initially started tracking this line, and Betis getting a half. They're playing well. Their offense has been, I think, pretty dynamic. Villarreal is not doing a lot offensively, certainly controlled Manchester United and played well offensively, but scored 1 goal, had 15 chances or something like that, and probably should have had 3, 4, 5 if not for David De Gea. But I think also some blame can lay at the Villarreal feet for not doing well in that situation. Betis are dealing with some injuries at center back, and I'm hoping they can get one of their 2 normal players back. I was going to call them studs. I wouldn't give them that yet. But I think Betis getting a half of a goal is too much. And unless this falls to a quarter, I think I'll play them. Getafe then hosting Sociedad, getting 1/4 of a goal at home. Sociedad, with the midweek match against Monaco, went down early, but ended up tying it up and really putting Monaco under a lot of pressure towards the end of the match. Ended up drawing 1-1, which was probably disappointing for them. But ultimately, Getafe is one of the worst sides here. I think they're probably my pick to be relegated, and I probably need to go look at some odds to see that, but I'm probably going to lose them now. The match starts in a minute. The Friday one. So, but getting 1/4 of a goal is way too short at home. Granada then hosting Sevilla, getting a half of a goal with all the juice in the Sevilla side. So this looks like this will already be 3/4 of a goal next time I refresh this. Granada's not the same team this year. They've sold off a ton of their assets, new manager, and they're not a side I want to back at less than a goal from Sevilla, who are probably playing the best in all of La Liga as we speak. Moving to Italy. So Cagliari hosting Venezia has just started, so this is probably a waste to go through. But Venezia don't look like a side that belong in this league. And I'm looking to be against them as a favorite as much as I can. Moving to Saturday, Salernitana hosting Genoa. Genoa on the road. Pick them, but with all the juice. Pretty cheap price for Genoa, and makes me almost want to play them as a draw here, as a push. A little more expensive, surely, but in Salernitana, their fans have been out in abundance, but they've been playing teams closely, but not really doing enough to win matches. And I think Genoa are better than them, even on the road. Probably won't play unless I catch a quarter on Genoa, though, and that doesn't look likely. Torino then hosting Juventus in a big Turin derby, if you're going to Americanize it, or Torino derby. Currently, Juve giving half of a goal on the road with all the juice in the Juve side. I'm hoping this climbs because Torino have been playing very well, controlling matches, getting a lot of respect from the marketplace, and if not for a late penalty, had beaten Lazio and controlled Sassuolo on the road. So Juve with a good win against Chelsea certainly probably added to this line quite a bit, or got them a little more respect. I'm not a believer in them, even though Chiesa and Dybala are big for. Returns are big, and starting to produce is going to be necessary for them to compete at the top of Serie A. I'm not a believer that happens yet, and Torino are a good side. Sassuolo then getting 3/4 of a goal at home from Inter. I think I need a full goal here to be interested in Sassuolo, as their defense is still problematic. Inter can score whenever they want, unless it's in Champions League for some reason. And they even have the late show that isn't working out for them as well. Moving to Sunday, Bologna hosting Lazio. Bologna getting 1/4 of a goal. Seems pretty cheap. Lazio with a good win against Roma in the Capital Derby. And then also pretty much got right on the board quickly against Lokomotiv in the Europa League, I believe. So they've been playing well. Bologna are not a team that I want to play as a quarter goal underdog against a big side, because they're going to have to push forward to score goals and press high and take risks, and Lazio could punish them. Sampdoria then giving 1/4 of a goal to Udinese at home. Still everything's Sunday now from now on. Udinese at getting a quarter on the road is even money, so hopefully that climbs to half of a goal, as I'm not still a believer in the Sampdoria offense. Adding Caputo is pretty important, but I'm not really a believer in them, as I just said. And Udinese, they're built to be a defensive side, and I think this fits pretty well on the road for what they want to do. Verona then hosting Spezia, giving 3/4 of a goal at home with all the juice. Look like that's going to climb to full -1. Verona have been playing better lately. They've been getting a lot of respect from the market. So that's market betting has been right. Efficient market hypothesis or whatever. Spezia, they've been playing more aggressively, and I think are an offensive side this season, which is a little bit weird in year 2, where they're potentially at risk to get relegated for sure down to Serie B. If this climbs to a full goal, I'm interested and more interested, but still want to balance how they play and how they kind of leave their defense pretty open. And that's just what Verona needs to score, because I'm not really sure that Verona is the best offense out there. Fiorentina then hosting Napoli, getting half of a goal at home. With all the juice on the Fiorentina side, seems a little bit, I don't know. If this falls to a quarter, it seemed like a cheaper price than it should be. Napoli are very good, can score a ton of goals. Fiorentina, I need to check on the Nico Gonzalez status. If he's back, that's important. And we'll see. At a half of a goal, that's what I made it, and interests me. But we'll see what happens with the juice and lineups and such on Sunday. Roma then hosting Empoli, giving a goal and a half is a lot for Roma to give, especially with the fixture congestion as they're playing the Conference League and who knows what country midweek. But the Empoli side, I think, as a recently promoted, are not a team I want to go against. A Roma side that are scoring a ton of goals, and unlike Jose Mourinho, I don't know if he's changed, because he seems like he's not as stubborn throwing teams forward, or maybe he just has more assets than he did at Tottenham. I don't know exactly how it works, or their competition is easier, but Roma have been scoring a lot, and that's scary to back an underdog against them at home. Atalanta then hosting AC Milan in a big one to close out the weekend. Atalanta currently giving a quarter with all the juice on their side. I'm interested in AC Milan as this climbs to half of a goal. Muriel returning midweek for Atalanta in Champions League was pretty important. They got a late winner, but it was tough for them to get there. AC Milan are a much bigger threat, and I think AC Milan, they've been playing better, I think more aggressively and go on the front foot a lot more, which certainly will help Atalanta and give them more chances, but also Atalanta will have to be a little bit more cautious and careful with their defense. So I think as this climbs to a half of a goal, I'm interested, but we'll see what happens, because Atalanta are certainly turning it up and played pretty well at Inter last weekend and might have deserved a victory. Now we move to the Bundesliga. So missed the Friday match, but I don't think I'm going to be backing fourth at any point. So Hertha Berlin currently pick them right now with Freiburg. And Freiburg has all the juice on the road, and Hertha has been a disaster so far, getting rid of players that weren't bought into the team or whatever. Freiburg are off to a great start, playing really well. Young players are still playing great, and don't look like they're going to be sold right away. So this looks like a great start to the season that might continue. I was hoping to get Freiburg as a dog, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen, nor should it. Borussia Dortmund then hosting Augsburg, giving a goal in 3/4 with all the juice on the Dortmund side pretty much. So this might climb to 2. At 2, I'm a little bit more interested in Augsburg, as they've been playing better defense, but I don't want to fall in love with that because their offense is still non-existent. And Dortmund will have Dahoud suspended, and then ultimately I think an issue for Dortmund is when Erling Haaland isn't on the field, isn't playing, they are not even close to the same team, offense, anything like that, and going to need to check on his status. Stuttgart then hosting Hoffenheim, pick them with most of the juice on Hoffenheim on the road. Would like to be against Stuttgart because they have no offense to speak of, and their defense is pretty poor. Hoffenheim, though, aren't exactly a prom queen either, so I'll probably skip to the next. Wolfsburg hosting Gladbach. Wolfsburg giving a quarter of a goal with most of the juice on their side. I think Gladbach got a big win against Dortmund last weekend, but we'll see how they kind of react to that. Wolfsburg had to play midweek and deserved a win against Sevilla until a late penalty, which I still don't really understand how that was given. But ultimately, Gladbach, I think, might have spent a lot of their energy last weekend, and I still don't really like them offensively really at all, and their defense has been shaky for a while. So I'm not sure I have much for me to do there. Leipzig then hosting Bochum, giving a goal in 3/4 with all the juice in the Leipzig side, likely climbing at 2. Leipzig have been a disaster in Champions League, but are doing well or decent so far in the Bundesliga. Bochum are a side that I'm not sure can score goals, and that's a big problem against Leipzig, who at home have been able to score plenty. And against a recently promoted side with much fewer, lower resources, it's not looking good for Bochum. Even at a +2 or something like that is probably not on my card. Mainz on Sunday, then host Union, giving a quarter of a goal with all the juice on the Mainz side. Union are going to struggle with playing midweek games and also coming back to the Bundesliga. I think they're going to play as defensively as they can and force Mainz to do what they can offensively, which Mainz don't have a ton of options there, unfortunately. I think they're really a team that want to play physical and kind of luck into a goal, which as they climb to half a goal favorite, I'll be more and more interested in Union. Bayern then hosting Eintracht Frankfurt, giving 2.25 goals with all the juice on the Bayern side, likely climbing to 2.5. Frankfurt, their offense has been pretty bad. Bayern can name their number of goals in this match, so I don't think I want to get involved. Frankfurt were very lucky to get a late 91st minute penalty winner in the Europa League this week, and I don't really like a lot of what they've done under Glasner. It doesn't seem to be gelling really well with the players or the strategies or whatever you want to call it. That doesn't seem to be working. And then Arminia Bielefeld in the last one in the Bundesliga, hosting Leverkusen, getting 3/4 of a goal at home. Leverkusen 3/4 of a goal road favorite. Big number, but Leverkusen have looked really good. Their offense has done really well under the new manager, and Bielefeld aren't scoring. I'm not sure how Bielefeld is going to score here, but I think they need to at least get one to get a draw, and that's a big ask. So you're looking at a half a goal loss. They lose 1-0, and that seems like a decent result for Bielefeld, even at home. So I think I will skip that one. Now, last but not least, the French league. Lens and Reims just started. Was expecting that one to be closer than I think the half a goal spread was offering, but Lens have been playing really well, and it's hard to want to be against them. On Saturday, Montpellier hosting Strasbourg. Currently, Montpellier giving 1/4 of a goal at home, but all the juice on the Strasbourg side. Montpellier is a tough side to pick right now because they've sold their big players, offensive attackers, and their defense was always a problem for them. They're going to need their kind of replacements who are already there on the team playing fairly well and contributing to really step up into bigger roles. And as a home favorite, that's asking a little bit more than maybe they're capable of, but a really expensive 1/4 of a goal right now in Strasbourg, who have defensive issues of their own, is probably too much for me. Nice then hosting Brest, giving a full goal on the nightcap on Saturday. Nice have been cooling off a little bit lately, but I'm not sure that they're a side I want to be against because I don't know that Brest score here. And I think Nice will probably get one. And when they get 1, 2 comes. And then Brest, you'll have to trust them to score. I'm not sure they can do that against a Galtier side who have not given up goals for a season and a half now. Then moving to Sunday, we have Ren hosting PSG. Ren currently getting a goal, which is pretty short for PSG, who certainly went all out midweek to beat Man City and then played their triumvirate up top. So I wonder who's going to be available for the next match. We'll see what happens there. But Ren getting a full goal at home seems a little short based on where the PSG lines have been lately. Lorient then hosting Clermont. Currently Lorient pick 'em, all the juice in the Lorient side. And I think that's deserved. Probably should climb to 1/4. And Clermont Foot, they've been playing really aggressively, taking the initiative, and has not been going well lately. So I wonder if they start to become a little more pragmatic. Hasn't happened yet, to say the least. And Lorient have been strong. Monaco then hosting Bordeaux, giving a goal and 1/4, and that's a really big number. Monaco played the kids in the Europa League and then kind of used their studs as remplacements or substitutes in the second half to try to add some sort of threat. Didn't really do much against Sociedad. Bordeaux have been hanging in there. They've been falling behind a lot and getting back into matches. And I think you got to give them credit because I know they had to sell some of their better players who are popping up and scoring goals all over Europe. That's a fact of life right now. But getting a goal and 1/4 is a lot from a Monaco side that really hasn't clicked offensively. And I think Bordeaux are going to make them work. Angers then giving half a goal to Metz. Currently all the juice on the Metz side on the road. Angers are a big surprise. They've been playing really well. I think half of a goal is probably a big price for them to lay here. If this falls to 1/4, that's probably where it should be. Nantes then hosting Troyes. Nantes half a goal favorite, all the juice on the Nantes side. Troyes are looking like the recently promoted side that started the year off with a competitive match against PSG and have not been great since then. Lille at 11 Eastern time US, then host Marseille. Currently Lille at home, giving a quarter with all the juice on the Marseille side. I'm very interested in Marseille. Lille with a poor performance midweek, really bad penalties given away, one that should not have stood, but ultimately still getting a point at Salzburg would have been that impressive to me based on where Lille were last year. And they're still looking like, well, yes, they've been turning up and getting a little bit better lately. I'm still not impressed. Marseille have a much better offense. And I think the Lille defense looks pretty old, and without Galtier, have not been doing the same thing. So Marseille getting a quarter, very interesting to me on Sunday morning, afternoon, whatever. And then Saint Etienne in the big rivalry, hosting Lyon, getting 3/4 of a goal right now, which seems a little short to me. Saint Etienne, we're bottom of the league and have not been playing well, might still be bottom. Lyon have plenty of offense to speak of. And seeing this number below 1, I think is pretty respectful of Saint Etienne, who I think have been playing better, but have been really giving away stupid penalties or stupid late goals, or really just not playing well and not being able to win matches has been a big problem for them so far. I'm sure manager's on the hot seat, and how he does in this match is going to be a big deal. But the home crowd should be nuts. Lyon are going to go in coming off Europa League play where they were not great offensively, ended up scoring a bunch of goals in the second half, but were converting chances initially. And I think that's a problem for them against a big rival. There's more juice on Saint Etienne than there is on Lyon right now, so it doesn't look like this is going to climb to 1. But I'm holding out hope that gets there, because I think Saint Etienne have been better than the results. The crowd's going to be nuts, and I think Lyon might be dealing with a little bit of tired legs coming off a Europa League match. So that covers everything. We're a little over 30 minutes. Thanks for joining. I don't know if this background worked out. It looks pretty stupid, so I think I'm going to not use that next time. But anyone on StreamYard, on Twitter, on YouTube, whatever, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.